everybody. So we are so excited. We are here to have our latest episode of Obscure Animation. And I've been doing this series now for 2 years. And before that, before December, I had just done edited videos. But now I moved it over to a podcast format because I just thought it was more fun. And so my friend Stanford is here to talk about our latest Obscure Animation. We're talking about The Lost World and animator Willis O'Brien. So we are very excited.
Hi, Rachel. Thanks again for the invitation. So nice to be here.
Yeah, thank you. And originally I haven't done very much stop motion. It's kind of interesting that the one of the only that we've done two stop motion.
Yeah, that's true.
I didn't even think about that.
That's right.
Because the only other one that I've done is a town called Panic. When I first started, I did, and that is hilarious. Very, very funny. If you ever get a chance to see it, I think it's on Amazon. But anyway, very funny. And so I hadn't done very much stop motion, but I thought about doing King Kong. I have already reviewed that once on my channel for Family Movie Night before Kong School Island came out, and so I thought, that's really not that obscure. Everybody knows about King Kong.
Yeah.
At least everybody knows the iconic images from King Kong.
Right.
So let's dig a little deeper, and we're going to talk about The Lost World, which is based on a Conan Doyle story, Conan Doyle, and we're going to talk about the animator Willis O'Brien. And had you seen this film before, The Lost World?
Oh, this is the first time I've ever seen it, so I was happy to watch it. I'm a big fan of the original King Kong,
Mm-hmm.
and so it was really wonderful to see an earlier film with this stop motion animation by Willis O'Brien. I was so happy for this chance that that you offered with this, and just really, really enjoyed it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'd never seen it either. I hadn't even heard of it. And I really enjoyed it too. I thought this was really fun. It doesn't have quite the heart that King Kong has.
Yeah.
King Kong is devastating to me. When he's up there, getting displayed or whatever, that's devastating. and
so amazing the emotion that they pull out of that puppet.
I know.
I mean, it's just brilliant. I love King Kong.
Yeah, it's so much more emotional to me than the Godzilla movies or some of those other type of a similar style of movies.
Yes.
King Kong has way more character development, and I don't know. I was surprised at how I cried. I was moved.
Oh yeah, it's very moving, very emotional.
Yeah, and it's so much better than Kong Skull Island, and which was just so flat, even though it has this more realistic supposed Kong. It doesn't have near the emotion.
Yeah, no comparison. And don't get me started on the Peter Jackson remake of King Kong, or also that one in the 70s too. I don't think is that great. It's the original.
I heard that one in the 70s is pretty bad.
Yeah, it's bad. I mean, you kind of have to watch it just because, Rach. It's not one of those that's so bad that it's good, but it's just so bad you have to, you can't turn away. You have to
right. Yeah. We went to a movie like that at Sundance.
Yeah.
So let's talk about Willis O'Brien, though. I wrote down some facts about him that I just thought were interesting. So he was born in 1886, and he left home at the age of 11. Can you imagine? 11, and he just worked a lot of variety of jobs: rancher, factory worker, cowboy, and I guess at one point he was a guide to a bunch of paleontologists at Crater Lake and National Park, and that's where he developed or realized his love of dinosaurs, which is really interesting. And then he just learned how to do all this stuff in his free time. He learned how to sculpt, he learned how to draw in his free time, and to me this was interesting because I've always looked at my YouTube channel as, I've made a little bit of money off of my YouTube channel, well, not much, but I have made I wouldn't have the job that I have now if I didn't have a YouTube channel. because of the skills that I've learned and continue to learn off of my YouTube channel. And so that's one thing I think some people get wrong is like they set out to do a creative endeavor because they want to make a career out of it, where like it should be your passion, and then you have to look at what skills am I learning through doing this creative endeavor.
Mm-hmm.
And so I thought that was interesting because it has absolutely been profitable for me, even if I haven't necessarily made a ton of actual income. Anyway.
Yeah, that's cool. A modern day parallel.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, it's that same thing. Yeah, no, that's cool.
Yeah, he just learned how to sculpt and draw in his free time, and then I guess his first job was he was a sports cartoonist in San Francisco.
Yeah, isn't that interesting?
And then he got a job as the assistant to the head architect in San Francisco World's Fair, where he had to make like a whole bunch of models of bridges and dinosaur. I guess there was a dinosaur and a caveman as part of that. And he did his first stop motion animation with a local newsreel cameraman guy that they were just like, let's do it. This will be fun. And people, liked what they saw. And he made his first movie was called The Dinosaur and the Missing Link, a prehistoric tragedy. And this was in 1915, and it cost $5,000.
Wow.
Isn't that amazing?
Amazing. That's one I'd love to see.
I know.
I bet it's cool too.
I know, it would be fascinating.
Yeah.
It would be really fascinating.
I wonder if a copy of it exists anywhere.
Yeah, and I guess then he got hired by Thomas Edison to make a bunch of shorts for their company. And then that's how we met Harry O. Hoyt, who is the director of this.
The director of, yeah.
The rest is history.
Yes.
But I don't know. Do you have any thoughts about that?
Well, yeah, I read up on some of his history too, and I'm with you. I thought it was so interesting. Again, how he launched out on his own at such an early age.
Yeah.
But just the steps that led him. I mean, he worked with Thomas Edison. I mean, are you kidding me? And then, yeah, how he learned the craft. Just on his, just kind of just seemingly on his own, or with some friends. I think it's really. Yeah.
I mean, he almost invented it. I mean.
Yeah, exactly.
At a certain point, it's pretty amazing.
Because isn't this technically the first film where stop motion animation was used? At least that's been documented.
No, when I don't know. I'm not sure on that, but it seems like it's got to be one of the first, 1925.
Yeah, I'm not sure if it is. It's the first, but it's got to be definitely one of the early ones.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, because The Adventures of Prince Ahmed, that's like paper mache, but that was 1926. So it's just before that. So it's got to be one of the first. I mean, maybe it's not considered the oldest animated film just because it's live action / animated.
Right.
But it's got a lot of animation.
There is. I was surprised by that too.
Yeah.
Initially when it started, like I wonder how much animated. I knew it had it, but yeah, then the scenes just kept coming with it. Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's a lot.
Yeah, and so it was interesting. So I asked today on Twitter. Because sometimes I wonder, like, do we give things that were first too much of a pass because they were first? And it's like, did they really not look good? But we're like, oh well, it was first, so we forgive them. Yeah, which is fine. But I was just curious, like, do people like genuinely like it, or did they just like it because it was first? If that makes sense. Yes. And so I was asking on Twitter today. I said, do you think the stop motion in King Kong? I just used that because it was more well known. And other silent films looks too hokey, or still holds up and looks cool? So I got some really interesting comments. Paleo Stino, he's an awesome YouTuber. He said, from someone that appreciates animation, I think it still looks cool. And from Pinafore Geek, I think it's hokey in a way, but also super impressive that they managed to do it. Something about it is really appealing, and you can really see all the love put into it. There's a charm. And a couple more. Plain Simple Tom says, personally, I think that the jerky dated stop motion animation makes King Kong one of the scariest films I've ever seen. I thought that was a really interesting comment.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Tom Gunn, he says, no, the sound in Steamboat Willie doesn't hold up either, fighting words there, but you can still appreciate the effort and the innovation as a vital stepping stone to what we have new. And anyway, so just some variety, some different opinions.
Yeah,
and,
some different opinions.
Yeah. And for me, I think the thing that I kind of agree about it being scarier in a way, because sometimes the super realistic images that we get now in animation, they just start to all look kind of the same, and also you can have problems with like it just, I don't know, like it's just starting to look kind of blasé. It's just not as like scary. Yeah, sure, like Jurassic Park, when that was so realistic and so great, it was so effective, but now it's just like, I don't know, something like Kong Skull Island, it just, like, they had those lizard creatures, which I hated, and it just didn't really excite me that much. It didn't really do a whole lot for me. Mm-hmm. And so in this, I just feel like it's such a fantasy world and so different from our own world that I almost prefer it. If that makes sense. What do you think?
Well, no, I agree with what you're saying. Something about this particular, I guess the two things we see both on the island that almost look like, again, it's black and white, and it's, and not super high resolution, and all that stuff that we're used to, but it looked like we were in this prehistoric world. And even though they're just slowly down in Venezuela, right? But I thought the depth of some of those scenes, like that scene where the volcano's going off and all that stuff. Mm. I mean, it's remarkable. And I felt transported.
Yeah.
Even though these were little clay puppets, that are just getting manipulated around. It was, really, really effective. And there was enough realism in it that's I think was very that really transported me too.
They do a pretty good job of meshing the live action characters with the animation.
Yeah, I thought so too. I wanted to go take a class and learn how that split screen and all those different techniques that they were using work, because I thought they were really effective. And I also thought how groundbreaking. It was 1925.
Yeah,
and they were doing stuff like that, and I thought it looked great. I mean, sure, it's kind of cheesy just given the time period, but wow, it was amazing.
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was amazing.
Yeah, I did too.
I was just, it's just so taken with I don't know if you caught the set that they built for those dinosaurs, and then also we can talk, which we'll probably talk more about, when they go to London at the end of the movie. Mm-hmm. I thought those were pretty impressive.
Yeah,
as well.
I just love stop motion. I am like a huge fan of stop motion. I mean, it's hard to think of stop motion film that I don't just love. I know it's just so cool, like what they're able to build and the worlds and the whether it's like the Aardman claymation style or whether it's something like this. It's just I just love it. I love the style. It just takes me away. So I agree. I think it is it's funny because it is hokey, but it feels fresh and it feels exciting.
Yeah.
Where a lot of this stuff is starting to feel the same to me. That's super realistic.
Yeah, the super realistic CGI. Yeah, I'm with you. Sometimes it's almost either so realistic or there's just no fantasy.
There's no gravitas to it.
Yeah, about it too. That just really kind of pulls you out. I mean, sometimes I refer to it as computer throw up, because it's almost just like you're just getting all these images flung at you, and sure they're quite realistic in their rendering, but there's nothing that's really beautiful or interesting about it. Where this was just nothing but interesting. Every scene. Every shot really too was really something.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree.
I was commenting to myself, Rachel, that there was a lot of circle of life moments, because I mean clearly they're dinosaurs, but there's a lot of fighting and kind of like killing each other.
Yeah.
But still, those were cool though. And I mean, I guess this, clearly that's what these dinosaurs were doing.
Yeah, they looked really good. Yeah, I agree. It was fun. And so, okay, so let's start at the story a little bit. So a couple different versions of this movie out there you can find on YouTube. There's a 1 hour version, and then there's a 1 hour and 32-minute version that has some new restored content in it. That one also includes like a little weird sort of introduction.
That intro was interesting, wasn't it? With Sir Arthur.
Yeah. So I guess he embraced it. He liked it. So basically, we'll just kind of go over our main characters. You have Professor Challenger, and he believes that the dinosaurs still walk the earth, and he's basically made fun of for it. And he wants to go on this expedition to prove that that he's right. He's played by Willis Berry, and I don't know, what do you think of him?
Oh, I think he's a great character.
Yeah.
In fact, I thought I read a quote somewhere saying that Arthur Conan Doyle liked him almost more than Sherlock Holmes. But I don't know if that's true. Like I say, I needed to verify that quote. But he's kind of like the mad scientist character in a lot of ways. Just the crazy person. But I thought he was great. What did you think of
Oh
it?
Yeah, classic.
It
reminded me of like in Atlantis. You have the inventor, the explorer, whatever, in that movie. It's definitely like an archetype, but it's a really fun one.
Yeah, I thought that was a fun one too, and it really works.
And you could really see the influence of this movie on a lot of other movies.
Absolutely,
definitely. I mean, even on Jurassic Park, for sure.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, definitely.
For sure.
Yeah.
And probably King Kong too.
Mm-hmm.
So he was really good. You have Paula White, and she is the daughter of Maple White, who is this explorer that got lost in the jungle, who's the one in his journal that claimed he saw the dinosaurs. And she is played by Bessie Love. And I kind of wonder, like, that like it was a more sort of innocent time back then, like that, like I think maybe, I'm not saying that people necessarily believed that there were dinosaurs back then, like in the jungles of Amazon, but like it's just, now we've explored the moon, now we've just done so much that I think that it probably was even sort of more a little bit more interesting and a little bit more than maybe it was more sort of exciting, the idea of exploring and stuff back then.
Yes. Yeah, kind of that, maybe a little passive, but like the golden age, right? Of exploring and how cool that you could go somewhere and there would be dinosaurs there.
Yeah. Paula is played by Bessie Love, and she's just like a classic silent actress, I think.
Yeah, I thought. All the expression and the way she's filmed, everything. Yeah, seemed very.
Yeah.
Quintessential silent film.
Yeah, and then you have, she's basically so much like a Jane or somebody like that. But you have Paula, and then Professor Challenger. You have sportsman John Roxton.
Yes.
And then you have the reporter Edward Malone, and he's really funny because he's the only reason he's going on this adventure is because his fiance doesn't want to get engaged to him unless he goes and does something brave, because she thinks he's a wimp.
Yeah.
Which is, I don't think you'd have that plot now.
Yeah, exactly.
You're not machismo enough for me. You're too.
I know. It's funny, isn't it?
It's funny.
It's kind of random, and it's also like, dude, get a new girlfriend. She's the worst.
Like, why in the world would you want your fiance to go into the jungles looking for dinosaurs? Like, really?
I know. I know.
And so then you have a skeptical professor Professor Summerlee and his Indian servant Zombo, and you have Professor Challenger's butler named Austin. So that's the team.
That's the team that goes to Venezuela, right?
Yeah, and it takes like about 30 minutes to get there.
Yeah, and
really.
If I were to even have a complaint, and I don't even think it's fair to really have a complaint, Rachel, but that first 30 minutes is pretty slow. I think that the setup is a bit slow, but then holy smokes, is there a payoff? I mean, because once they get there, it's just nonstop.
Yeah, cool. Because you meet the ape man first.
Yeah,
and that looks
creepy ape man.
Sort of like an early prototype of King Kong, I think.
Yeah, but right? It's a dude in an ape suit with a really scary mask, and he's mean. I mean, he is out to get these humans. Yeah.
And then they have the pterodactyl, which I always thought that was one of the hardest words to ever spell.
Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, I love that scene. I think that's so good when they first see the pterodactyl.
Oh,
and it's like
amazing.
I don't know if it's like eating or hunting. I can't remember, but anyways, you see it from the distance, and it just looks so creepy and weird.
So weird as it's flying in, right?
Yeah,
it's a really terrific shot.
Yeah, and then it's almost just like one sort of scene after another of these different dinosaurs. There's so many. I mean, they had to do so many different models.
Yeah, I was really surprised by that too, because I was wondering, okay, are we going to see? They were calling kind of the T-Rex type of dinosaur, an Allosaurus, right?
Uh-huh.
And I guess that's still the name. I am so not a dinosaur person, so
and there's a scene with the two Brontosaurus that are fighting.
Yeah,
and there's I don't know.
And there's
There's a
Stegosaurus, and then there are the long neck ones. Are those the Brachiosauruses, or I'm trying to remember what they call that in the.
Oh yeah, Brachio, or is that Brontosaurus? I forget. Yeah, but the ones with
the long neck.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then and that one of those plays an important role later.
Yeah.
And then there were at least one Triceratops and kind of a little baby Triceratops, which is kind of cute too. There might have been more. And there were so many. Yeah, there. I was really impressed with the amount of puppets created for this.
Yeah, I mean, you would think for the first movie that they ever did, you've got to give, Willis O'Brien had guts.
Yeah,
guts.
Yeah, absolutely.
For their first ever to just I don't know, pack it in.
Yeah,
and it was amazing. It really is incredible.
And I was just wondering about the work too, just like how long it would take to shoot some of those scenes.
Yeah, one thing to do stop motion with one character.
Yeah.
To do it with two characters and have them fighting and stuff, I can't even imagine. I'm looking here. It says here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 different kinds of dinosaurs that they have.
Yeah. And many of them, there are multiple of them. Right?
You're right. And then there's all these different animals, like an anaconda. There's a jaguar. Also, it doesn't get to be stagnant. Like, it keeps going, and there's enough sort of variety in the fights and what's going on. And also, like, there's just some sort of classic silent movie kind of drama that I admit is probably pretty hard to replicate in modern film. But the love affair between Ed and Paula.
And Paula, yeah,
it's really good.
It's pretty cheesy, but it's great. It really worked for the film, and just kept the action going and kept it always interesting. As I mentioned, once they arrived in Venezuela, this thing was a nonstop ride.
Yeah. Well, and it's just kind of cool that, like, I don't know. The Paul's like, ooh, your fiance didn't think that you were brave enough. Like, I think you're brave enough. Like,
I know.
they end
What
up
is his
falling in
name?
love, and they get married by Professor Summerlee. So,
Well,
he's
because if I'm understanding it correctly too, Rachel, they think that they're not going to get off. They're not going to go home.
right.
Right? They feel like they're trapped and they're so. It's a good,
Because it's pretty tense.
Yeah.
And they think that they're getting pretty close. Like that whole scene with the rope bridge, and they're climbing the rope bridge, and the dinosaurs are getting closer and closer and closer, and
Closer,
it's
and
getting,
then the creepy
and the volcano.
man.
Yeah.
Yeah, really cool.
It was pretty tense. And the volcano looked pretty good.
I thought the volcano looked great, and the stuff it was shooting out, and then those different kind of sparks and things that they were lighting off on the set, and then all the dinosaurs going and all the smoke. It's just tremendous. Yeah.
Did it explain why? I can't remember why they decided to take the Brontosaurus back.
Well, because it was stuck in the mud.
Mm.
And so, I think it was stuck in the mud, and then they figured out that they could probably, there was a way they could engineer to get it on the boat based on its location.
Mm. Yeah.
At least that's how I interpreted it.
I guess they were feeling sorry for it.
They don't show any of that. But
yeah,
there was quite a long shot of the dinosaur stuck in the mud.
So they end up taking the Brontosaurus back to London. That's what you were mentioning. These scenes. What stuck out to you in those scenes?
Just quintessential monster movie. So
yeah.
So and also kind of reminded me of King Kong too. When King Kong escapes, but the dinosaur, what the professor is going to show the dinosaur to the world and prove, kind of save his reputation, right? But instead he gets a phone call saying that the dinosaur has escaped, and so the next shot you see are people running in horror, and then the stop motion dinosaur running down the streets of London, and it's so cool.
Yeah.
Because again, I know that so in Steven Spielberg's the Jurassic Park: The Lost World, which I hated. But that's neither here nor there. But there was the T-Rex, right?
Right.
That was let loose. This was so interesting because I never even pictured that kind of a dinosaur running down the street and terrorizing people. It'd flip its tail, and people would go flying, and but the miniatures were great, and as well as all of the people running. I mean, it's a very well crafted sequence, great editing with it. And at one point, the dinosaur gets ticked off and trashes a building, which is also seemed very almost Godzilla-esque.
Well, and he takes down London Bridge, which is fun. And
I love it. And then and that's where the professor, it's the final shot of the film. The professor is watching the dinosaur float. It was one of those.
It's so weird because they just let the dinosaur just float away.
It just floats away. And there's a boat, the dinosaur is just...
It's like, why did the Jurassic Park people just think of that? Just float away.
I know. Well, you wonder, is the dinosaur going to just swim somewhere and live?
Can
Who
they
knows?
swim? I don't know.
I know. I'm sorry. It was unclear, but I loved it. What did you think of that?
Oh, love it! It was so fun. I had a huge smile on my face. I really thought it was good. I mean, it's more fun than King Kong. King Kong is way more emotional and has
so dramatic.
Yeah, and it has more of like a social message.
Yeah,
where it's talking about civil rights and some other things that is clear.
And there's Fay Ray too at the top of the Empire State Building and all those biplanes. I mean, there's so much going on.
Yeah.
Too. This, the dinosaur doesn't take any prisoners. Or, he's just wreaking havoc.
It's just for fun.
Yeah,
it's just for fun, and
it's really fun.
And you do get the scene where Ed goes and sees his fiance, and she's gotten married, and so she's like, "Sorry," and he's like, "No problem."
I know. And she married some guy who she's like, well, yeah, he's just a store clerk or whatever, and he's never left London. Like, see, Gladys is a loser.
Yeah. See, you won't miss you.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you do get a little bit of a feeling at the end that John is a little sad because he will never get to be with Paula.
Yeah, that was a little bittersweet, huh? How they showed that, because the sportsman has a thing for Paula, but it wasn't not meant to be.
All's fair in love.
I know.
But yeah, it was just really enjoyable. I was surprised how much fun I had watching it. And all the title cards were easy to read. They weren't too fast. They were like the right amount of them, not too many.
Yeah.
But not too few, so you understood what was going on. And
exactly, I agree with you. I thought the title cards were great, and that the version that we watched had an orchestral soundtrack, or music to it. So it wasn't just organ, it was yeah.
Have you ever been to the what do they call it? The
silent movie.
Silent movie organ place in Utah.
At Edison Street and Salt
Lake.
Yes. Yeah, I have been, and it's a blast. I
know. We should go. We should do that sometime. Absolutely. I've been a couple times, and it is so fun. I would love to see this there. That would be so amazing.
At that theater, the organist, I believe his name is Don Gale. I'm not sure, but he's 84 years old. He does these original arrangements of all the music. He plays it without any music, and he just is sitting there in front of with that mighty Wurlitzer theater organ. He's amazing.
It is such a treat.
So I was thinking about that, like, what would he do for the Lost World? I bet that would be really fun.
Because it was a little bombastic sometimes for me, the score that was on this version.
Yeah.
There were a couple times where I was like, tone it down just a little bit. They're just talking.
That was probably if I had a second complaint, it would be that. And again, that's not the filmmaker's fault. That's whoever, did that restoration and made those music decisions. But yeah, so I didn't think the music was just the best. But still, it's
fine.
It was fine, and it just felt like a silent movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, it would be really cool. What this place is in Utah is it's literally like a whole room of an organ.
Yeah, they've got pipes and
the surrounding you. So you go in, and you see the silent movie, and you have this amazing organist, and you're surrounded by the organ. It's really cool.
Yeah, they've got pipes and cymbals and all these different things that can be controlled from the organ console, different percussion instruments and things all around, and it's really a fun experience.
We need to go soon. So it was just really cool, and just an amazing thing, and he's just an amazing important pioneer. Yeah, for sure.
One thing about Willis O'Brien that I wanted to bring up to you, Rachel, so at the Lucasfilm headquarters that's at the Presidio in San Francisco.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you've had a chance to go there or not. They let just the general public go into right at the entrance is that famous Yoda fountain. I don't know if you've seen pictures of people to do like a selfie or something in front of.
I think that sounds familiar.
Yoda fountain. It's just on the exterior of the building, and then the general public can go into the lobby. And in the lobby, they've got just some cool Star Wars things and some sculptures and some books and whatnot that you can just look at. But there's also this really cool statue of Willis O'Brien in there with King Kong. I'll send you a picture of it. I looked it up before.
Oh, that's cool.
Before this, and it's really cool I think, and I believe that George Lucas commissioned this sculpture, and I think it's a wonderful thing because what a great reminder for all those amazing artists and technicians at ILM that are creating all these effects, just to see, to be reminded daily of the beginning of the, of their art form was really, attributed to Willis O'Brien because just what a genius he was.
Yeah, definitely. That's really cool.
Yeah,
he really was. I mean, he did win an Oscar for King Kong, and he he's one of the greatest. So this was just a delight. I really highly recommend anybody give it a shot, watch it, and we will get together next month to talk about a obscure animated film, and we're also going to be getting together and talking about Lady and the Tramp, which is definitely not obscure, but we're excited to talk about it in our Disney canon series. I'm looking forward to that.
Yes, definitely.
So where can people find you?
They can find me on my movie blog on Twitter, number one, which is at Stanford Clark, and then I've got a movie blog, which is stanfordclark@wordpress.com.
Awesome. Yeah, and you can find me here at Rachel's Reviews on YouTube and iTunes, and at my blog, 54 Disney Reviews, and a Smiling LDS Girl on social media. So check me out there. Love to hear your feedback, what you think about this movie in early stop motion. And let us know. And let us know if you have any ideas of what you'd like us to do for obscure animation. And I have a playlist in the description section if you want to check out what I did in the previous years for this series. So thanks again, and we'll talk again next month.
Thanks again, Rachel. See ya.